Alright, good morning YouTube. Coffee Talk with Haze, episode 11. Here we go into the teens. Today's talk is going to be hopefully a lot of fun. It's definitely going to be something random for me. I found a box of old stuff and I want to go through a few things. Basically they are my concert tickets. But before I do that, I found this stack of New York City subway cards that I held on to. I still want to do something with this, like make a mural out of it or something. Let's see. I'll keep this one back for later. So here's the stack. And I'm just going to start here at the top. I have no idea what order they're in. Let's go. Oh, well, okay, here we go. We're going to start off with Peter Murphy. When I got to see Peter Murphy in New York City. So let's see, this was at the Gramercy, the Blender Theater at the Gramercy. Friday, June 27th, 2008. And that was an interesting show. I was, yeah, it was good. It was good. It was very, very up and close. Everything seemed very kind of casual behind the scenes, almost like we were at a dress rehearsal. It was very, very, very odd how just open it was, and I enjoyed that. It was great because Peter Murphy is the kind of guy where, you know, he's almost like a David Bowie. Like you could just consider him an alien or just some demigod or some crazy crap like that. And he was a very real person. I know there was a lot of controversy many years ago what happened. I'm not sure where all of that landed up and everything, but at the end of the day, forgiveness is what matters. Okay, this is a weird one. This was the Jammy Awards. So this was Thursday, April 20, 2006 at Madison Square Garden, I believe. MSG, that must be Madison Square Garden. I don't remember it being at Madison Square Garden, but I guess it's where it was. So what the Jammies are, it's a play on words of the Grammys. So this was the award show for all of the Grateful Dead, Fish type kind of spin-off bands. You know a whole lot of them. Widespread Panic. Man, you put me on the spot. I can't think of any right now. What are some of the really, really good ones? Oh, darn. Well, Widespread Panic is really, really good. Allman Brothers Band still, they elevated into that circuit and that touring venue of all of those kinds of bands. There's a couple more that I just can't think of right now. I'm just going to have to move on. All right, this doesn't quite belong, but it does. This is when I went to Met Stadium. They played the Phillies. I'm pretty sure the Mets won. That was pretty cool. Okay, and here we go. So this was one of the worst shows I've ever seen. One of my favorite bands of all times, Tentacles. They played B.B. King Blues Club and Grill on West 42nd Street. This was June 21st, a Wednesday night, 2006. I want to say that this was the Yum Yum tour. And the problem is that Ed, the lead, he's not a singer, but the lead keyboard player, guitar player, the lead of the band, the leader, he announced at the beginning of the show that his main keyboard, I'm not sure what it was. If I had to guess, I'd say it was some kind of an Ensoniq or something. I really don't know though. Maybe a Kawai. And he said that his main keyboard was broken, was not working, and all the main sequences came off of that. And I'm pretty sure that they had all the structure of their song. Like, in other words, he would hit play and he'd have some backing tracks and they would play along with that when necessary, and the drummer would tap in with the click track. That was all gone. So they had to improvise the entire show that night, which wouldn't have been a problem with some of his older bandmates. But this was a lineup of very, very new bandmates, and they didn't really know each other very well on that night, and the whole thing kind of came crashing burning. And it's oddly enough, that's when I invited my two bandmates in the band that I was in, Axis of Knievel, to go see that show, and I just talked up just talked up. This is going to be a great show. It's going to blow your mind away. Oops. Okay, RAQ. R-A-Q. I saw them at one of the cruise aboard the Temptress, whatever. It's basically like a boat that goes up and down. It was either the East River or the Hudson. I think it was the East River. And we just kind of went up and down and cruised around the Statue of Liberty. RAQ's a pretty cool band. That's another one of those jammy bands. Okay, there's going to be a few of these, I think. Les Claypool at the Nokia Theater. I think I saw him at the Nokia Theater 3 times. This was Saturday, July 15th, 2006. So yeah, this was just like, what, 15 years ago? I can't math very good, as you can tell. No, that was 15. Yeah, okay, that is pretty good. Dude, this is a great show. I don't remember if this is the first or which one that I saw. Les Claypool, like his band, just awesome. Just a great show. Mastodon with Against Me opening. I don't even remember hearing Against Me. This is a pretty cool show. Mastodon really kicked it. Another band called Cursive. Don't remember them, but this is at the Roseland Ballroom, Thursday, May 17th, 2007. To tell you the truth, I honestly don't remember much about this show. Sorry. The reason why is because hopefully we'll get to it. I saw Mastodon open for Clutch, and that was a great show. Wolf Mother. Man, people hated this band. People love Greta Fleet now, but they hated Wolf Mother. Go figure. I thought this was a great show. Their bass player he brought it. He played like a Rhodes keyboard too, and he had it like taped up to a stand, like a rolling stand, and he would just abuse that thing, just thrashing it around. At one point, he got up on the drum riser and jumped off with his bass on his back and just like pounced on that Rhodes. It was so crazy. They were on fire. That was Wednesday, November 22nd, 2006 at the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is a great venue. Love that place. All right, Rush. This was the last time I saw Rush. It was the Snakes and Arrow tour, Monday, July 2nd, 2007, at the Nikon Theater at Jones Beach, which is kind of outside of New York City, so we had to travel to it. At the time, a guitar player in another band I was playing in, Lean Seasoned Beef, he drove myself and our bass player to go see that show. I think I paid it was $85.50 to go. Now, of course, whatever, but back then it was like $100 to go see Rush. I was making pretty good money living in New York City, so I said, okay, what the heck, I'll do it. They were great, but the venue being open and the wind blowing through, it affected the sound. And if you're gonna pay $100, that's not so good. I can throw that away. That's just a receipt. Here we go. Now we're getting into some older stuff. Grateful Dead, Wednesday, June 16th, 1993, Freedom Hall in Louisville. Yeah, that was a great show. I don't remember what songs they played at all. I could go back and look that up. There was a couple that I recall listening and hearing them play and just being like, oh wow. What was great about that show was I was part of a drum circle after the show, and I played tambourine in the drum circle. And I discovered that tambourine is actually pretty cool in a drum circle because you control, I mean, it's just like the hi-hats, you control the pacing between the actual milestones of the timing, if you see what I'm saying. So I was able to kick it up into double time when I wanted to and then kick it back into a slower beat, and everybody adjusted accordingly. We had girls dancing and twirling around, people were recording it with their microphones. It was pretty special. Okay, moving on. Phish, Phish. This was at Starwood, which is an old venue in Nashville. This was at the Veranda. This is cool. This is the first time I saw Phish. And so this was Tuesday, May 3rd, 1994. I think this was right before they were going to release their album Hoist. They might have actually been working on it, or about to record it even. Probably not, but at any rate, I said it again, at any rate, darn. Kinging. So this is the first time I saw them. They were supposed to play the Veranda at Starwood, which is like up the hill from the arena. It's like a grass hill where everybody sits, and the arena has seats down below it. But up at the top is an area where there's like bathrooms and shops where you can get beer and food. There's also a side stage. Well, Phish was supposed to play that side stage, but it rained that day, and the only way they could play was if they played the main stage. So everybody was ushered down to the main stage. We got to see Phish play on the main stage. They did one of their a cappella bits, and everybody tried to gather around so we could hear them sing. It was really cool. Allman Brothers Band. You know what? I don't much remember this show. I think, yeah, that's right. Blues Traveler and Big Head Todd played. When the Allman Brothers came on, I think I was too drunk to remember what was going on. Big Head Todd really blew me away. I was not expecting them to be that awesome. Of course, Blues Traveler was amazing. Allman Brothers Band, like I said, I think it was a really good show though. This was at Starwood Amphitheater, Tuesday, July 19th, 1994. Yes! Starwood Amphitheater, Wednesday, August 5th, 1998. Dude, this was such an amazing show. It says 7:30 p.m., but I really, yeah, okay, since it was summer, I remember it being sunlight the whole show. So I was thinking, my memory, I would have thought that it was like during the day at 2 or 4 o'clock, but no, it would have been way too hot for that. This show was so amazing. They only played like 6 or 8 songs, and the show was 2 hours long. They played like all of their epic, progressive 30-minute songs, and it was, I mean, they did not care if the audience got it or not. They wanted to play what they wanted to play, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Rush at Starwood Amphitheater. So this was, whoa, this was a crazy show right here. Maybe someday I'll tell you the story about this show, but that's a little, no, it has some wild stuff went down at that show. So 1997 and June 05, Starwood Amphitheater. Let's see, that would be the, I believe it was the Counterparts. No. Gotta think, that was the Test for Echo. Yeah, is that what it's called? Yeah, the Test for Echo tour, whatever that was. And man, that was a great show. That was really, really good. That was probably one of the best Rush shows I've ever seen, to tell you the truth. Okay, these get weird. King Crimson at 328 Performance Hall near downtown Nashville. And this was Saturday, November 10th, 2001. I know Adrian Belew's daughter, Audie Belew, from way back, from this town, from this area actually. And so I got tickets to go see this show, and she had like a little backstage pass. I guess I lost it. I should still have that somewhere, but I might have given it to, oh no, I know what, I gave it to somebody. She said, when you're done with this, give this to so-and-so. That's right. I didn't hang on to it. But it allowed me to stand behind Robert Fripp and see the whole band play. Of course, Bill Bruford was not in the band, but Adrian Belew was. Tony Levin was not playing. I forget who was playing the Chapman Stick stuff. It was a great show. Here we go. Here's another Rush. This is the first time I saw Rush. This was at Municipal Auditorium, Monday, February 22nd, 1988. And Municipal, I think it's gone, but it's an indoor arena. So yeah, this was in the heat of winter. Sorry. First time I saw Rush. Wow, I was a teenager. I was still in high school, and just wow. Porno for Pyros. This was the Jane's Addiction spin-off band. This was at the Nashville Convention Center in the basement parking garage. That's right, between all that concrete floors and walls and pillars. Monday, August 16th, 1993. What a crazy show. This was definitely back when things were a lot more culturally divided in this area. So when they brought their show to the stage, a lot of the locals were just like, what is that? Now, you could barely hear anything. You had to stand like right in certain spots to be able to hear the music at all. Otherwise, it was just a complete wash of reverb. Great, amazing show, though. Perry Farrell is definitely a charismatic character. Like, that's one of those shows contrasting when I saw Peter Murphy, where I know Peter Murphy could definitely be like that if he wanted to. I think he just wanted to be more open. When I saw Porno for Pyros, Perry Farrell was definitely putting on a show. He had his mask on, and his aura was visible. Okay, this is interesting. The Horde Festival. Now, I can't remember who was at this. I had to go back and look this up. This was at Starwood Amphitheater, Tuesday, August 10th, 1993. We'll have to move on from that. It was like just a lot of jammy type kind of bands. Here we go, Lollapalooza, 1993. I'd have to look this up to really confirm which one this was. This is on July 6th on a Tuesday at Starwood Amphitheater. I think this was the time, yes. This is when I first saw Tool. So if you saw Tool on this past tour, congratulations. I saw them before anybody knew who they were. I'm sure they had a lot of fans who saw them before me, of course. What worked out was this. Tool and Babes in Toyland shared the main stage and the side stage. I already told you about that at Starwood. So they would split up over the course of the Lollapalooza tour, which one would play the main stage and who would play the side stage. Well, at Starwood in Nashville, Babes got to play the main stage. Sorry, I thought they sounded awful. They physically hurt my ears. So I decided, hey, let's get out of here. Let's go see what's going on up on the hill. We went up on the hill. We're walking around. I kid you not, I hear chainsaws. I turn around. Some guy is juggling 2 live chainsaws. And he says, hey, everybody, follow me to the Tool Show. And we all followed him to the Tool Show, like kids following the Pied Piper. And there was Tool. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. This was like before Undertow was released. Okay, moving on. Oh, who else played then? Fishbone. They were awesome. Was Allison Chains, I think, and Primus? Was that the one? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. When I saw Allison Chains, I was like, I could not believe how great they sounded. And of course, Primus, one of my favorite bands. I feel like I'm missing a couple more, but got to move on. Let's see. Nope. Aerosmith with Guns N' Roses. Whoa. So this is at Starwood. Friday, September 2nd, 1988. Oh my God, what an amazing show. So, yeah, that was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction tour. And, between you and me, I think Aerosmith sabotaged Guns N' Roses. Or Guns N' Roses, they were just that young and amateurish, which I doubt. I really doubt, that their sound was just so wild and untamed. They had all this feedback issues. It sounded very thin. It just didn't like Aerosmith sounded perfect. Guns N' Roses sounded very compromised, and Guns N' Roses kicked Aerosmith's ass regardless. So I don't know what to say about that. Oh, this is interesting. I got to see Eddie Murphy at his Raw tour here in Murfreesboro at Murphy Center over here at MTSU. This was Saturday, October 3rd, 1987. Died laughing the whole time. Okay, Ozark Tentacles, Highline Ballroom, July 07 night. Wait, I'm so confused. Yes, this was, oh my goodness gracious. I don't remember this show. I'm so confused right now. Sorry. Hang on a second. Maybe I'll come back to that. I am really confused on that one. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Megadeth. Tiny little ticket. This is the Bijou Theater, which was downtown Knoxville. Very nice theater. July 16th, 1991. My roommate was going to this show. His friend from Murfreesboro here came up. They was staying the weekend. They were going to go see the show, but my roommate had a really bad stomach flu or something. So he sold me his ticket, and I went to go see Megadeth. Blew me away. I didn't think I was going to like it. I became an instant fan. It was really wild because this venue was like a nice old theater with really nice chairs, like a theater, like a movie theater. And so people couldn't thrash or anything like that. And it was kind of a weird vibe because of that, but it was a good show. Man, I got to understand what show this was, because I'm looking at this thinking to myself, okay, wasn't that when we went to go see Ozark Tentacles at BB King's venue? So I'm really confused right now. Let me go. What were those 2 dates? Sorry about that. I was not. It's like I said, I didn't want to prepare for this because this is too much. Okay, so yeah, this is the next year. I'm trying to understand. I went, and then the next year, and this show was absolutely amazing, but I can't remember what it was or when it was. Oh well, I'm getting old. Help. Okay, moving on. Mr. Bungle. This is the California tour. So this was a much more positive Mr. Bungle. This was not the first iteration of Mr. Bungle. This was at 328 Performance Hall again, which is a great venue for seeing indie rock bands, like hard edge indie rock bands. Really, really cool place. Tuesday, November 16th, 1999. Great show. This is the one where I remember Mike Patton was crooning, right? So this album is kind of more like a crooning kind of, lounge type kind of style with a lot of weird kind of demented stuff in between. And he was crooning away, singing real quiet, softly, and There's like not a whole lot of accompaniment music behind him. And the crowd was full of a whole bunch of what I perceived to be just college students, probably from Vanderbilt. And they were just kind of like yap, 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 just talking. And here is like, Mike is just singing, he's got his eyes closed, and he just goes right back to singing like nothing ever happened. He didn't say anything, he just mouthed it. He opened up his eyes and said that like he was screaming it at us. So everybody that was watching saw it, and we were like, whoa, like we all gave this reaction, which caused everybody else who wasn't paying attention, they were all just talking in their own little world, to suddenly just stop and go, whoa, what did we miss? And they just felt this dread come down upon them. It was really, really effective. All right, moving on. Who is this? Oh, here's another Fish. This was the third time I saw Fish. Not a great show, but we understand why now. So this was Sunday night, first of all. Sunday, November 15th, 1998. Here at MTSU at Murphy Center. So this was like after I forget, but this was when Fish was really popular. The Grateful Dead had sort of retired and passed the torch to Fish. And Fish was now picking up all of the people that would follow the Grateful Dead as well as the people that followed Fish themselves. And they just started amassing a huge following. So I can't remember what album this was, forgive me, but whatever tour it was, they were done with the tour and they picked up this last show and they did it anyways at the end of their tour. So this was a Sunday night. They were exhausted, so they just played very, very casually that whole night. Myself and my friends, we were expecting a on fire show and we didn't get it. Funny thing though, we were just kind of sitting up there. We were away from everybody. We were just up at the top, just minding our own business, not trying to add any negativity because we were not impressed with the show. We were not happy. We were like, why do we come to the show? This is not what we wanted to see. No disrespect to Fish at all. But this one trust fund looking kid, I mean, you should have seen him. His clothes were just like, it looked like his clothes must have cost $500. He was wearing like overalls and sandals, but they looked expensive. And he just came out in front of us and just started dancing. And at one point he's just like, okay, I gotta dance anyways, So you could tell that everybody was trying to get the energy up, and it's just like, Fish was just like, oh, please just accept that we're doing this show for you, we're too tired. Okay, moving on. Clutch, one of my favorite bands. This was Saturday, May 16th, 1998, and this is when Mastodon opened for Clutch. 328 Performance Hall. Everybody came to see Clutch. Only myself and a few friends knew about Mastodon. I was introduced to Mastodon from one of my friends who was in a band that I played in. So we were excited to go see this show. It was great. It was the Remission tour. It was not really a tour for them. But it was for the Remission EP or album, whatever you want to call it. Clutch, of course, was amazing. I mean, Clutch is just so good. If you don't know Clutch, they're one of my favorite bands. But Mastodon stole the show that night. Okay, here's another one of my favorite bands, Guided by Voices. This was at 328 Performance Hall in Nashville. Thursday, April 27th, 2000. I kind of remember this one vaguely. You know what? I think I went to this show by myself, if you want to know the truth. I think I was living in Nashville at the time, and everybody else was doing, like in Murfreesboro, doing something else, and I just went to the show. But it's hard to say because look here, here's another Guided by Voices at 328 Performance Hall the year before, Tuesday, November 23rd, 1999. So these were pretty close together, and I can't quite remember much, but I do remember one of them was the one where some huge guy, I mean, this guy was so big, and he was just like at the front of the crowd, just pushing everybody around. I mean, at one point he almost like ran me over. He was like 3,000 times my size. And he was like going up to the rhythm guitar player, to his microphone, and grabbing his microphone and trying to pull his microphone off the stage and stuff. And everybody was getting very irate. And at one point, security came, rounded him up, and escorted him out. When we went back, everybody in the audience went back to enjoying the show again. It's like, cool. And I was like, he's back. The guy's back. The guy's back, doing it, pushing everybody around again, grabbing the guy's microphone. He was the brother of that guitar player. He was the guy's brother. Drunk, just so drunk, and he was not trying to hurt anybody. He just couldn't control himself. Lee Scratch Perry, what a show. What a show. Lee Scratch Perry and the Mad Professor. This was at the Variety Playhouse. I don't know where. So this was Saturday, March 24th, 2001. I want to say this was in Nashville, but this might have been down in Chattanooga or Atlanta. Wow. I don't remember much about this show. I must have been really in a good state of mind. Okay. Ooh. Here we got a couple one here. All right, let me do this one first. Let me go backwards. Oh, no. Yeah. We got to do this right. I'm going to do these in order, actually, if you don't mind. I'm going to flip them around a little bit. Al Di Meola Project. February 18th, 1988, Langley Auditorium, Vanderbilt. This was the show where at the end, I don't remember what song it was, but at the end of the show, there was a couple guys on the front row. And this is another one of those like college auditoriums. So the seats are like, stuck. They were on some substances. If I had to guess, maybe Quaaludes, I don't know. Again, I was just in high school at the time. I went with my friend and his parents took us to the show. My friend was way into this stuff. He was like 15 and he was like an amazing guitar player. I'll talk about him one day in another episode. I should dedicate a whole episode to this guy. He's the one who really got me into jazz. So these two guys at the show, they're like out of it. And it's the encore. And Al Di Meola's just up there just shredding. And he looks down and he sees this guy asleep. Just resident sleeper, man. So he jumps off the stage. It wasn't very high, but he jumps off the stage with his guitar and his cables. Gets right up to this guy and just starts knurling right in this guy's face, man. Just right in the guy's face. And his friend is over here just shaking him. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! And it's like the guy never wakes up. I mean, and he's not dead either, thank God. But, I'm kind of surprised we're like, should we call ambulance, So Al gets back on stage, they wrap up and, get off the stage and everybody's clapping, and dude's still asleep and Al comes back for another encore or whatever. And he's just like, looks down, he's like, man, your friend's on some really good drugs. And the guy's just like, oh no, he's just really tired, man. All right, Chicory Band. Same place, Langley Auditorium, Vanderbilt, Nashville, September 14th, 1988. So, like, later on, one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. Don't know what to say. This was like the start of the Chicory Electric Band. That was their first album, their tour. That may have been a second leg of the tour or something, but it was amazing. Okay, this one was not amazing. This was Chicory at University of Tennessee in Knoxville, Jackson Hall. No, wait a second. T-Pack. Yes, yeah, Jackson Hall, yeah. April 27th, 1990. So, like the Ozric Tentacles show where I took two of my friends. Once again, I take two of my friends. You guys are going to be blown away by this show. Okay, I can't remember the name of the album because it's not one of my favorites. See, Chicory Electric Band, they did this kind of flip-flop thing with the labels where I think the label, GRP or whatever, they really kind of wanted, to get some singles. Man, it'd be great if you guys could get some singles. This is the late 80s, early 90s. So, like, the first Electric Band was just a lot, it was kind of progressive, really. It wasn't pop. And then the second one was pop. But I kind of like the songs on that one. Then the next one was, like, way progressive. Also, it was like, avant-garde all of a sudden. And then it's kind of kept going back and forth. And the next one was, like, pop again. And that's the one for this tour. It wasn't Inside Out. It was the one after that, I think. Colors or something like that. But I almost said it. Here's what happened. Chick, the show starts. And rest in peace, Chick. I mean, always hear my heart, seriously. I learned from everybody, though. Like, this is something I learned. Like, even the greats, they make mistakes. Apparently, he did not like the production of the studio album. So for this show, I guess he was doing this for every show. He came out and made an announcement about, a caveat, like, don't do this, people. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, of course. We didn't like the way that the production of this album came out in the end, so we're going to play the whole album for you tonight, and we're going to play it the way that I want it to sound. They did play Got a Match at the end. Everything else was like, really? I just don't agree with playing all your new songs that nobody's really familiar with and not playing the songs that they want to hear. Okay, that's my opinion. I'm a customer. Got It by Voices. We're back at Headliners Music Hall. Oh, this is when I went to go see them in Louisville, Kentucky. One thing I noticed is that with Guided by Voices shows, is that when you look at United States and you go north to south, right? The closer the Guided by Voices show is to Dayton, Ohio, the more you're going to get covered in beer. Seriously. Like the shows in Tennessee, you know, people are not throwing beer over each other. You get to Kentucky, they're throwing beer over each other at these shows. It was another great show. Man, Guided by Voices is one of my favorite bands of all time. I will probably do a whole episode, if I can, just talking about them. Here's another Rush show. Am South Amphitheater Vapor Trails Tour. Yes, this was good. This was good. Now, Am South Amphitheater, this was Starwood. They changed names. Somebody else bought it, but it was Starwood. We still call it Starwood. We're like, Am South? What now? It's Starwood. Wednesday, August 14th, 2002, the palindrome year. This was when Rush came back after all the tragedy that Neil Peart went through, and they had a newfound energy. And what was the album? Vapor Trails? Yeah, duh. Great album. I do recommend the remix that they came out with later. Yes, I got to see a Fugazi show, a $5 Fugazi show, and I'm so proud that I did. Well, $6.50 in this case, but that, you know, $5 plus the $1.50 surcharge or whatever. Monday, December 20, 1999. It was cold, and that was a great show. I'm not the biggest Fugazi fan of the world, but I really wanted to see them, and I'm glad that I did. Guided by Voices at Exit In, Saturday, April 20, 2002. Actually, this was the one where the dude was throwing us around, I think. Because I remember it was Exit In, it wasn't 328. No, I don't know. Now I'm looking back, thinking to myself, no, there's no way that could have been. That had to be 328. It was. Okay, Clutch at Exit In. Thursday, September 4th, 2003. I don't know who opened up for them in this show, but this is another great Clutch show. Queens of the Stone Age. Okay, here's another one for you. Monday, May 7, 2002 at the Cotton Club. This was the open of the Songs for the Death Tour. This was the opening night of the Songs for the Death Tour. Dave Grohl played drums. Now, I had no idea really who Queens of the Stone Age even were. Members of my band, same people that introduced me to Mastodon and many other bands. They said, hey, we're going to this show. You want to come with us? Well, yeah, sure, why not? Sounds great. I, at first, had a terrible time at that show. It was so crowded. It was so absolutely crowded. It was wall to wall. Everybody was, it was nuts. I kept walking around just trying to find a place where I could just relax. I went upstairs. The Cotton Club is a double venue, and there's like a bridge thing that goes across. I'm standing in the back, and all of a sudden, two people just kind of move. And a spot on the balcony opens right up, and I slip right in. Instantly. Now all of a sudden, I've got a front row seat for the entire rest of the show. So like the next about 3/4 of the rest of the show, I got to watch from this perfect view, and I didn't leave the entire time. I just stayed right there. I didn't go get a beer, nothing. My eyes were just fixed. It was so amazing. It's so cool to watch Dave Grohl do nothing but just play drums. Okay, here's another King Crimson at 12th and Porter. This is one of those rehearsal shows that they were doing for their tours they were kicking off. They're so cool, so personal. New Order. Got to see New Order at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City when I lived there. This is Thursday, May 5th, 2005. Pretty cool stuff. You know what? I think V&V Nation opened for them. Maybe, maybe not. I want to say I saw V&V Nation like by themselves at the Hammerstein Ballroom, but it might have been that they opened for New Order that night, and that's when I first saw V&V Nation and was introduced to them. Family Guy Live. Oh my God, this is crazy. This was like right when I first moved to New York City, Friday, April 29th, 2005. Wow, that's nuts. That was like right when I first moved to New York City. I don't even think I had a place to live right at this moment in time. This night, I was still looking for a place to live. The next day I would get one, and this Sunday I would move in. one of my friends well, long story, I need to do a show on that guy too, but one of my friends was visiting. Another one of our friends had moved to New York City at the same time. They were going to go see this show. And I said, hey, I'm bored. I'm going to meet you guys. I'm going to try to meet you guys on your way into the show just to say hi. Maybe we can have a beer or something even before, whatever. So I tried to find them. I hung out, waiting outside, trying to find them. Some guy approached me, and he asked, nicely, what I was doing, and I explained, well, I'm waiting on some friends, from out of town. I just moved here, yada, yada, yada. I said, okay. He walked that way. He turned back around and said, here, you want to go to the show? And he gave me this ticket. It was really cool. It was so cool, but we got to move on. Here's another evening with Rush at Starwood Amphitheater. This was Wednesday, May 26, 2004. This is their 30th anniversary tour. And I get this one mixed up with the other show that I saw for the Vapor Trails. I don't really remember which was which. Here's another King Crimson. So that was 3 times that I saw King Crimson at 12th and Porter. Tim Burton. This was just a friend and I went to go see the Tim Burton Exhibition in Los Angeles. That was August 28th, 2011 in Los Angeles. So this King Crimson was Friday, May 19th, but I don't remember what year. It was the same year as the other one. I think they were back to back. I saw them 2 nights in a row or something. Okay, getting close to the end. Primus at the Roseland Ballroom in New York City, Thursday, November 9th, 2006. This was their reunion tour with Herb and Larry Lalonde back in the band with Les, all 3 of them. This was one of the most amazing shows I've ever seen. It only lasted 30 minutes. They kicked us out. There was some opening band. I forget who they were. I think it might have been the Dropkick Murphys or somebody like that. I don't know. Probably not them, but at any rate, I did it. Dang it, that's twice. Okay. Here we go. Let's say that this is the floor of the show, and up here is the stage. Normally a mosh pit forms right here in front of the stage. At this show, the entire area was a mosh pit, all the way to the back. You had to stand along the edges of the walls to stay out of the mosh pit anywhere in the arena. I've never seen a show like that before. They stopped the show after about 20 minutes, and they said, okay, people, you have got to calm down. You have got to calm down, or you're going to crush yourselves to death. So we're going to stop the show, and when you calm down, we'll come back out, we'll start again, and we want you to calm down. Okay, we're all like, whoa! Just a bunch of maniacs. They come back out, they play for about 5-10 more minutes, they're like, nope, bye, and they leave. That was the end of the show. Everybody out. Can you imagine the reaction of everybody? No, you can't, because you had to be there to understand that we were like this. That was the best show I've ever seen in my life. Whoa! Party! Yes! You had to be there. Okay, here's VNV Nation. Okay, so I was wrong about VNV Nation opening for New Order. So I don't know who opened for them. This was at Irving Plaza, so I probably was wrong about that too, wherever that was, that New Order played. Irving Plaza was a really, really cool venue in New York City. I love it. This was Friday, June 17th, 2005. Great show, great show. Interesting band. Only 2 guys. One sings and the other kind of plays the top part of a drum set. He doesn't do the bottom part. So it's kind of weird. Here's another Les Claypool. This was at Terminal 5. So I totally don't remember this one. This was the last time I saw him in New York because this was Saturday, May 28th, 2009. I left New York about a year later. Yeah, I don't remember the show at all. Ringo Starr at the Greek Theater. Oh my God. I'd have to go back and look at the lineup to remember exactly which one this was. I saw Ringo twice. Both times were just 2 of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. Seriously. This was Saturday, August 7th, 2010 at the Greek Theater. What he does is he gets a lot of other musicians to play in his band. It's the all-star band, you see. And these other musicians are somewhat famous from the 80s, the 70s, and the 90s, and they all had various songs for whatever bands they might have played in, and they'll cover those songs. So they'll play some of Ringo Starr's songs, they'll play a handful of Beatles songs that he can play, or is allowed to play or whatever, but then they'll also do their songs. So like, he had Colin Hay from Men at Work, and they did, Who Can It Be Now, and some of that stuff. They had so many names right now that they're flooding into my head. I see the faces and I'm like, the bass player from Mr. Mister. So they played Broken Wings. Just really cool, and they sound great too. And he hires, oh my goodness, I forgot his name. Too many names in my head right now. His drummer is the best in the world, and I can't think of his name right now because it's just like, bam. He was the drummer for David Lee Roth. And I want to say Vic Morrow. Why am I thinking Vic Morrow? Vic Morrow is not a drummer. It'll come to me by the end of the show. He's one of my favorite drummers of all time. I'm also trying to say Nico McBrain. He does. He looks like Nico McBrain. Anyways, this drummer is... Why does it... If this ever happens to you, it's wonderful. You got to roll with it. I forgot your name. Sorry. I don't know why. It's not Dennis Chambers. Okay, here's another Les Claypool. Nokia Theater, same thing in Times Square. Saturday, June 2nd, 2007. So one thing that was so cool about these Les Claypool shows is when he would get that weird two-stick thing, and it has like a lever on it. It may just be two-string. It may just be even one string, but it's on a stick and it's got like a lever that he can pull to stretch the string. And he would do this groove where he would just be kind of jamming like this, and he'd go back and forth. As he's going back and forth, it's bending the notes, so it's changing the frequency. And we would always get around to the side, my friend and I. We saw these like 3 shows at Nokia, or maybe only 2. I want to say I saw them 3 or maybe 4 times. So we'd be over to like stage right, and I would watch the crowd as he would go back and forth, and they would go back and forth with him. It was just amazing. Greg Bissonette, that's that drummer's name. Amazing drummer. So if Greg Bissonette plays for Ringo Starr, of course he's getting paid well, right? But seriously, Greg Bissonette can play for anybody. Ringo Starr is an awesome drummer. I don't care what anybody says. Okay. Go watch his live performance on YouTube of Act Naturally. I mean, he's playing a swing beat with like to-doom on the bass drum. He's controlling his bass drum foot, having a nice swing going, and singing at the same time. That's another receipt. That was another copy of the Tim Burton show. That's weird. Okay, we're almost done. Chicken Foot at the Greek Theater. I forgot that I saw Chicken Foot. What was that? Was that Sammy Hagar? Oh man, and that was the Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer, I think. Who else was in that band? Greek Theater, Sunday, June 10th, 2012. Man, I had forgotten all about those guys until I saw this, and I totally forgot that I saw them live. Joe Cocker, one of the best shows I've ever seen. Huey Lewis in the News opened for him too. That's right, so I actually got to finally see Huey Lewis in the News. It's so hip to be square. Wednesday, August 15th, 2012. And that again was at the Greek Theater. This show was like so good. His band was just immaculate, and everybody stood. They're so distanced from each other. It felt like a vacuum, and everything was just pristine. He's an amazing performer. If you've never seen him live, he really is that good. I finally got to see Deep Purple. So I finally got to see In Pace playing drums live. Oh man, this is again at the Greek Theater. The Greek Theater was great. So I had a friend of mine who had connections at the Greek Theater, and a lot of these shows, we got to go see them for free. This was Friday, June 24th, 2011. REO Speedwagon with Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. I know that he was with her that night too. This was Saturday, July 31st, 2010. I am not the biggest REO Speedwagon fan, but I went. I'm a pretty big Pat Benatar fan. REO Speedwagon was really good, but it's just kind of a weird show. I don't know. All right, here's the last one. So what's missing? Oh yeah, so I don't have the Todd Rundgren. When I saw Todd Rundgren playing at the Canyon Club in LA, that must have been like 2008, maybe. No, 2013 or 2014. That was a really cool show. And finally, here's Yes with Peter Frampton at the Greek Theater, July 9th, 2010. So this was in Los Angeles as well. That was a really weird lineup for Yes. You can go look it up, see who was in it. I think they had Trevor Rabin was in the band. Trevor Horn, I think, was singing with them that night too, and some other people. It was a good show. They played a lot of the songs that were in between, like during the dangerous years, like the missing years in the late 70s and the early 80s, when a lot of prog bands were having a lot of trouble and nobody was buying their albums and their music was just really odd. And let's see, this was a clinic that I saw with Terry Bozzio and Dom Famularo. Dom Famularo blew my mind away. I had read a lot of his stuff in Modern Drummer, but I'd never seen him play drums before. He did this trick where he took the stick on and he hit the hi-hat's right here, and he would hit the hi-hat and let the stick hit the rim of his glasses. And he must have had some kind of padding going on right here. Speaking of padding, a shout out to Sebastian for recommending that I put some padding on this table so that I stop banging your ears every time I set my coffee down. So big thanks to Sebastian. Go check him out on Twitch. I think I'm going to put a link down in the description below. If you're a Twitch person, please go check him out, give him a follow. He plays guitar at night and does a lot of cool guitar soloing type kind of stuff, and plays Dark Souls during the day. So before we go, I got a couple things. The Grateful Dead shows that I saw, we did get backstage passes. From what I understand, these are kind of the fake backstage passes, however. Meaning that, like, there's supposed to be a rose instead of the lightning bolt. I don't know. That's what somebody told me. I really don't care. It was pretty cool. I mean, when we went backstage, there was absolutely nothing to see. Nobody to see, really. So that made me believe that, yeah, these were probably just sort of like fake backstage passes. On that note...